What makes a side hustle realistic for teachers? I know firsthand how little time you have and how little energy, and also how bills keep coming in and how they have to get paid. So, we're going to talk about what are some realistic ideas for you. Of course, you have to tailor them to fit your own personal situation. These are just some ideas to kind of get you started. So we'll talk about knowing your energy and your other boundaries that you want to watch out and protect as you look for extra paying jobs on the side. Some examples of teaching based or in-person or creative and digital ideas, as well as some slower building gigs or what people call passive income, even though it's active at first. It can take longer to build up, and then just looking at money in general, like what are your needs? How fast do you need to make it? How to choose your side hustle and some common mistakes to avoid. So some things to look at when you're thinking about how to make this realistic for you. You want something that's either free to start off with or very low cost, so you're not, dumping in money that you may not have, just to see if you like something or if it works for you. So looking for very low cost or free things to start, something that you can bend around your current situation, so that you're not having to recreate your schedule from scratch, just to get the side gig. And then relaxed commitment. So meaning if you needed to pause it for whatever reason for a while, you could, that kind of thing. Thinking about your energy and other boundaries that you want to watch. If you're burned out, like a lot of us are, I certainly was, which is why I stepped away and started this work. But some things to think about are things like how much energy and time can you really give after work? How many nights a week, for example, or days on the weekend? Do you want to work with kids or adults? Do you want to work alone? Do you want to work, more in person or online? And how fast do you need to make this money? If you are looking to use your teaching skills more directly, you could look into things like online tutoring, test prep coaching, and even educational consulting, where a district, for example, or even like a school board potentially, or a group of families, if you're looking like very micro level, would, hire you to teach them about a specific skill. Or you could even think about it in terms of offering workshops around certain things. It could be about time management, if that works for your people, anything, study skills, and then of course very specific things related to what you taught, reading, name it. If you want to look more local, you could look at tutoring in your community. I have some other posts already on tutoring with some specific pointers to think about. Babysitting. And again, if you have that kind of energy left for working with kids, teaching clubs or camps, you could even look into how you could create your own camp for a certain topic that you're passionate about. And other local jobs that are, hourly and looking for help. Let's talk about slower or longer term builds to earn income. They can be a lot of fun too. And so blogging, I started blogging a few months back, and I've really learned so much, and I'm having fun as I build this online platform supporting neurodivergent teachers. So I can definitely tell you all about that. And digital product sales, same thing, where, all of these are, sometimes you'll hear people say they're passive income, but really it's definitely active work. At the beginning, it's a lot of work, and especially with, blogging, for example. But if you stay consistent and keep at it, over time, those earnings do come in. So, since all the side hustles are so different and every person who's doing a side hustle is different, and there's so many variables, like depending on where you live and things like that, it's pretty hard to give an accurate estimate of how much somebody would earn per month, for example. But, if you're selling digital products, those could go for anywhere from like $3.50, to much higher. If you're selling courses, those can go for, $97, and much, much more. But you need to also weigh the energy and the time you have and, just be realistic. If you're dealing with some chronic underlying health conditions or, taking care of somebody who's ill or, some, different things like that, you're going to have less energy than somebody else. So if you're like super strapped for cash and, having trouble paying your electric bill, you would probably want to look at like a food delivery service or something like that to get some faster money. But if you want to look at sort of the big picture and building something more sustainable, those are some ideas. In terms of how to decide what to do first for a realistic goal, first you want to think about, or a realistic side hustle rather, first you want to get clear on your goal. Like, is it, is it to make a certain amount of money per month? Are you trying to pay off some debt? Things like that. Are you, trying to build an alternate to the job or career that you have? So just getting clear about why you're doing this. And then think about, things like I was just mentioning, like about your energy and time and overall bandwidth that you have available. Ideally, whatever you pick is going to give you energy back, as well as money. And then you want to pick it and test it for a few weeks and, review, take notes, what went well, what didn't go well. But give it some time before you decide that it's not a great idea. Especially again for something like blogging, because that you have to be patient and consistent, but you can really make an impact too in other people's lives with that. So don't discount it. So as you go into something like this, some mistakes to watch out for are trying to do all the things, especially if you're ADHD. We get so excited and, easily distracted, pulled off into different directions. And so you want to, again, get clear about what you're doing and just try to pick one thing. I know it's really hard, but try for, at least the next 2 to 4 weeks to just focus on that one thing. Similarly, if you're going too fast and you're not setting things up properly, even if it's something like a delivery service, all of these things have like setup processes, and you need to take the time to really think ahead and think about, okay, what equipment do I need, so that you're not sort of scrambling at the last minute and trying to get that ready. And then also just be careful not to judge yourself or to write off the entire idea too early. If something, quote unquote, fails like the first time or first few times you try it, it doesn't necessarily mean that the idea is bad. It might mean a lot of other things too, anywhere from just the timing not being right or things like that. It might not be the best idea for right now kind of thing, but it could be something that you could come back to later. Again, depending on your need and how quickly you're trying to make money. All right, so just to wrap up, you deserve to have enough money to take care of yourself and your family and to have fun and enjoy your life without having to worry about how you're going to pay your bills each month. I totally get that. And yeah, I'm in the same boat, really. So these are things that when I left teaching, I quickly realized how hard it was to come back to as steady of a job, as steady of a paycheck, as steady benefits as that offered. And so I've learned a lot in my time out of the classroom, and I'm still learning, and I'm happy to share with you what I've learned. So as you look into making more income, don't forget to also take care of yourself and get enough rest and things like that. And then make sure that you grab the freebie that you'll see linked in this post. It's a guide to get you started off in the right direction. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye.